All right, so welcome everybody to this month's Holistic Pet Teleconference. I'm Sue-Ann Sesha-Harnden, energy medicine practitioner and teacher and an animal communicator and the owner of Fifth Dimension Healing Energy. And I've helped dozens of people and animals gain balance, wellness, and peace of mind in my practice over the past 5 years. And my expertise in animal energy medicine helps my clients achieve stress reduction, physical, mental, emotional wellness and healing, and enhances their overall vitality. And my mission is to help you and your pets become the best version of yourself possible using the safe and gentle practices of energy medicine. And I'm joined here tonight by my colleague. Well, I'll let Cindy introduce herself. Cindy?
Hello everyone, I'm Brongany Cindy Rounsaville, and I am a homeopathic health consultant and educator. And my expertise has been over for the past 30 years as helping women and men who are interested in using a natural method of healing for themselves, for their families, including their pets, to acquire health and well-being by educating them how to use homeopathy. I offer homeopathic consultations for people and pets. I also offer self-help homeopathic classes, online videos I do. So let's get started. So Sue-Ann and I have our own separate business, and we've known each other professionally for over 5 years, I would say. And we share this passion helping pet parents who want to help their animals in a safe and natural way. After several years of us referring our clients back and forth, we decided to join forces and to offer the holistic pet package that we did. We decided to use an integrative approach. I do the homeopathic, Sue-Ann does animal communication, along with Reiki and other modalities that she uses. So together we're able to offer educational resources to pet parents through our monthly teleconference series. We do live educational talks and our Pet Premier package, which we'll talk about later on in our recording here. So Andy, you want to take over and explain Zoom?
Yeah, sure. So some of you may be new to this Zoom technology. We love it because it lets us create a little virtual and visual community with all of you, along with educating you. Maybe get to see you face to face, and if not, then at least you get to see us face to face and learn who we are and engage with us a little bit. So you don't have to be on the video part to be part of this. Obviously, you can just be on your computer and listening on the audio if you're camera shy. So don't worry about that. But in the Zoom technology, you do have. I just want to point out, if you are on your computer and you're not listening on the phone, you'll have a little toolbar that's sort of on the bottom of your screen, and it may not pop up until you move your mouse to the bottom of your screen, and then you'll see a couple of things. And the thing I want to point out is chat, because you can put the chat box up, and that'll be up, probably it'll fly up on the right-hand side of your screen. But in the chat box, you can see, if you've opened it, I've posted a little welcome message. I've also posted just a little contact information for us. We are now on Facebook with the Holistic Pet. So we have at the Holistic Pet Gals on Facebook, and we also have email that you can contact us directly through the Holistic Pet program, in addition to our individual emails and contact, which we'll share at the end. We also have a couple of upcoming events, so I just put that in the chat for you. We'll be at the One Spirit Festival the weekend of May 5th and 6th in Clinton at the Community Center, at the Hunterdon County Library on May 19th with a little info booth at the Garden Expo, and then we're doing a free talk at the library in Clinton on May 24th, How to Unleash Your Pet's Inner Healer, which is our signature talk, and we'll be thrilled to meet you in person at any one of those dates. So that's just stuff in the chat, and I'm just pointing that out because you can type your questions in. We're going to take a lot of time, hopefully at the end tonight, to take your live questions and answers. We have some questions that were pre-submitted, and we'll happily answer those, and anything you think of along the way while you listen to our presentation tonight. So just as you think of them, type your question into the chat, and then we'll grab all those at the end and try to get as many answered as we can. If for some reason you're having some technical difficulties, you can also type that into the chat, but you can also use the little icon under Manage Participants to raise your hand or flag us that something's gone awry. And we are muting everybody during the presentation until Q&A, so if you do have something that needs our attention, just chat or raise your hand in the participant window, and we'll try to help you offline while we're doing the presentation. All right, I think that covers everything technical and housekeeping wise. So tonight you're here for Healing Your Pet's Emotions, the Key to Lasting Healing, which is all about the emotional health of your pets and how addressing it can significantly improve their quality of life and well-being. And I have to say, as an animal communicator and an energy healer working with animals, it's important that we realize that just like people, animals have an emotional component and they can experience many of the same feelings as we do. Just like people, when we're facilitating healing, sometimes we have to work beyond the physical body level. And from even a more spiritual perspective, healing the emotions is truly the key to lasting healing. You know, we can carry our emotions with us and emotional injury and emotional trauma with us from life to life. So it's important, and it can last at a cellular and a DNA level, right? So it's important for us to address and resolve feelings that come up that may block us from dealing with or healing in the life situations that show up for us and in our pets' lives. And when we work at the emotional level, it lets us address those other things that are well beyond the body, right? The physical body and what's happening in the physical level. So all the emotions, grief and loss, abandonment, depression, guilt, shaming, and even something called mirroring, which is something we'll talk about later tonight with the emotional state of their people that are in their lives, as well as other pets in their family. So anything at the emotional level can significantly block the physical healing if it's left unaddressed. It's not really so much a question of, what or why something happened to cause the emotional response, although we do look at that. Cindy will talk about something called ideology. But it's really about acknowledging that there are those energies and that they are holding on to them at some point. And because of that, they are stuck in some level of their energy field. And that's the thing that's likely preventing some physical level healing from progressing. So this is where vibrational medicine and understanding we have an energy field that's multi-layered and complex can really help us move along in some of the cases where we get stuck or our pets get stuck in their healing. So we're going to talk a lot, give you a couple of real life case scenarios. Everything we talk about on these calls is a real life case Cindy and I have dealt with in our practices. So we're sharing, real life situations for you. So I'm going to let Cindy kick it off with our first case study here. And go ahead, Cindy, give a whirl.
Okay, so the first topic is going to be depression. Sue Ann and I have had the honor, and I'm going to say the pleasure, of being volunteer at a local wildlife refuge. So they consult with me using homeopathic remedies for various wildlife. And Sue Ann does the Reiki, animal communication, other modalities that she does with the animals. So we have helped bears and squirrels and possums and snakes and turtles, foxes. We even did a bobcat last year we worked with last year. So it's amazing to see how working with wildlife, how we're able to help them, and then they can release them back out to the wildlife and have a better, better quality of life. They come in for really interesting things they come in for. So the case I want to talk about tonight is about a 6-month-old possum that was depressed. So let me read from my notes the case scenario. So the possum was found along a hiking trail, and he could not move his back legs, and he had lost muscle function, which was accompanied by loss of feeling. It was called paralysis. So here he is laying on a hiking trail, back legs not moving. We started him on the homeopathic remedy Arnica montana. So if you're a little familiar with homeopathy, you may have heard Arnica montana. So Arnica is used for a lot of injuries. So we started him off with Arnica. After a few days on Arnica, he was able to be able to feel his back legs, but he wouldn't put his weight on his legs. So at least we knew that from the spinal column, he was getting some feeling there. We also started him on the homeopathic remedy Lycopodium. We were figuring he got the feeling back, but he couldn't put his weight on his legs, so he must have loss of muscle tone, which, I'm sure you may have known, is that muscle tone, you lay around for a couple of days, and you're going to start losing your muscle tone. So who knows how long this little guy was laying down on the hiking trail. So we had him on Lycopodium for loss of muscle tone, and within 2 weeks, he was able to stand up on all fours for a brief time. Amazing, isn't it, to hear that? So what we did was, it was only a brief time, so what we did was we adjusted the Lycopodium dosage, and we continued to pass him on for another week on the remedy. After a while, he was able to stand on all fours, but he could not move forward. So he can get up on all fours, which is good, but he would not move forward. So I also started him on the homeopathic remedy Plum Blum. So Plum Blum is for lack of muscle tone. So loss of muscle tone, what's loss and what's lack? Loss of muscle tone means you had the muscle tone, but from laying around, you lost it. Lack of it means that the muscle not toned up at all. There is a little bit difference between it. They do kind of sound similar, but there really are different ways. Plum is more if we have no muscle tone at all. It's not even developed there. The plum will develop that. After a week, the little guy was able to get up on his legs more. He was able to start to move around move around a little bit. He was starting to do. So okay, made better progress. But that's about it. He would only move a little bit around in his cage. So we reached out to Sue Ann, and we asked Sue Ann if she could do a little animal communication with him and see what's really going on with the little guy. And what happened was he came back telling Sue Ann that he was depressed and had a deep sadness. He felt that there was no point to go on. So Sue Ann will tell you more about this, how communication works. But the animals, they communicate in one way. You got to kind of put it into our language. So he felt there was no point of going on. So it meant no point of going on in life. And he felt hopeless. So we put him on the homeopathic remedy Aurum metallicum. And within a week's time, he started using his back legs. He's able to move around more, he was. So here was an animal that was depressed, didn't want to move forward, couldn't move forward, because he was stuck in life. He was stuck where he was depressed. And we all have seen someone that has been depressed from an illness or depressed in life where they cannot move forward. So this is where the emotional component comes in as to, I don't know if you ever heard of Louise Hay. Louise Hay always says, when a certain organ's not functioning or a certain system's not functioning, there's an emotional component as to the reason why. So let me give you a little bit of background information about homeopathy, for those who are not familiar with homeopathy. So a homeopathic remedy, a lot of times you're going to see them in the boron blue tube, you're going to be seeing them. This here is Podophyllum 30C. Now you can take a pellet dry, putting 1 to 2 or 3 pellets on your tongue. You can. Try to pill a cat with a remedy. Sometimes it's not that easy. So what we like to do is put the remedies in water. So remedies are put in either 4 ounces of water or 1 ounce water. For animals, it's best to put them into a 1 ounce dropper bottle. It's the best to put them in. Now for the possum, for wildlife, we put them in a spray bottle. Why? Because we're not handling the animals. Well, I'm not handling the animals, but the handlers are not handling the animals because they're going to go back out in wildlife. So what they'll do is they'll put the remedy in a bottle, and we do what's called succussing. It means tapping the bottom of the bottle into the palm of your hand. Every time you tap this bottle 10 times or 1 time, it makes the remedy stronger. When you take the remedy dry, you're taking the same strength each time as what you're taking. So you want to put the remedy in water, so you tap the bottle. As your healing is improving, the remedy's right behind you. So that's how you would do that. So like I said, they would tap the bottle 10 times for the arnica or the lycopodium we would do, and then they would spray it on the animal's fur. Now, when you do a remedy dropper for a cat or a dog or a horse, whatever it may be, your pets, you would tap the bottle 10 times. You can either put it on their nose, put it on their body. As long as it's touched them, they've had the remedy. Even if it rolls off their nose, they've had the remedy. And a lot of times the animals will do is they'll lick it off their nose, what they'll do. So that's how we administer remedies to animals. So homeopathy works by matching the person or the pet's symptoms to what's called a homeopathic remedy symptom picture. So a homeopathic remedy symptom picture is the symptoms that particular remedy has. So let's say arnica. Arnica is for sore, achy, bruised muscles. So when you or a pet has sore, achy, bruised muscles, you give them arnica. Arnica will stimulate the immune system, and the immune system, what does the healing? The remedy is only the energy in the bottle to help push the energy along, help push the immune system along with what the remedy does. So Anne, you want to add to anything else about depression?
Sure. So all of these things, we're talking about depression and sadness in this case, are very strong emotional energies and vibrations, and those can definitely block our healing. And in this case that Cindy was talking about, the energies around that sadness and depression were so strong that they basically, all the energies were wrapped up in that sadness and depression, so up at a different level besides the physical, so that they were not really available to help, with the physical level healing and progress forward. So with our insight from that animal communication session, we were able to determine the right remedy to help release and rebalance that stuck emotional energy and allowing the immune system to do its job, right, and rebalance what it needed to at the physical level for repair and recovery. And in addition to this whole integrated approach, I also was able to offer that animal Reiki. So Reiki works at all different levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. So we were able to bring together quite a few modalities to help harmonize and rebalance that animal, and that animal was able to be to move forward and recover, and hopefully enjoy release back into the wild. And so that's how that works. When we can work with all our tools at all our different levels. So with those two modalities we talked about briefly here, animal communication, Reiki, just again for grounding for people who aren't familiar. Animal communication is telepathic and empathic communication. It's similar to homeopathy. It's about matching vibration with the animal and perceiving and receiving sensory information back in the form of feelings, words, emotions, sounds, smells, just a knowing and understanding. And it's a bit like, as an animal communicator, I say it's like a bit like being a UN translator. The animals are speaking their language, which is the language of energy, and they're speaking from the heart. It's a heart energy. And I get that information, and I have to basically perceive it and then translate it into human speak so I can talk to the caregivers or the pet parents. And that's how that works. And so through that interaction, we foster an understanding and we foster a level of healing. Reiki is a Japanese healing art. It's an energy healing art for deep relaxation and stress reduction. And that can be done in person or over distance. And because it's an energy, a form of energy, animals connect very quickly to it, and they understand that it's about healing and balance. And they are quite open to receiving energy healing because, again, it's something that's natural to them. They understand positive and negative energies, and that it's safe, and that it's something they have choice over. The way we offer the energy, we're not doing Reiki to them. We're actually just offering them the connection to the Reiki energy and allowing them to be empowered and take the lead and take what they want and need to rebalance wherever they need it most. So that's a little bit about how Reiki works. All right, we want to get to our next case scenario here. We're moving along. We want to talk a little bit about grieving. A little bit of a tough subject, but it happens, right? We all have pets and people in our lives. This is something that happens, and it's quite a powerful emotion again. So we're kind of talking about some of the strong emotions tonight to really give you some illustrations. So Cindy, you had a pretty interesting case with a cat that you want to talk about tonight regarding grieving.
Yes, my elderly neighbor was telling me that his cat, his appetite has decreased, and he's been hiding under the bed. So I asked him, this is one of the questions we in homeopathy, we always ask, like, etiology, what happened, what's been going on? So I asked him, how long has this been happening? And he said, oh, it started about 2 months ago. Well, his wife passed away 2 months ago. And I asked him, has it been since your wife passed away? And he says, well, yeah, as a matter of fact, it has been. So I explained to him that the cat is probably grieving the loss of his wife. And so what we did was we gave the cat a 30C homeopathic remedy once a day. And according to what the grieving symptoms were, he gave me more information than what I have here. And within 3 days, the cat's appetite started to improve. So we continued with the homeopathic remedy once a day. And then within a few more days, the cat started back to so-called noise, back to eating. He's coming out. He was not hiding anymore. And that's what you're going to expect. When you work with a 30C, especially with emotional symptoms, when you work with a 30C remedy, we give it to it once a day. You would look for a change in 2 or 3 days. You would look for improvement. So they're not going to exactly come back to normal within a few days, but as time goes on, as you continue giving that remedy, you're going to be seeing it coming more back to normal eating. They're going to be more friendly again. They're going to be more cuddly again. What's going to be happening. And this is actually what happened with this cat. Now, the other thing I want to say here is that Sue Ann mentioned earlier about mirroring. This cat could also have been mirroring his the owner, my neighbor. He could have been mirroring him because my neighbor was probably obviously I think he probably was missing his wife and grieving the loss of his wife. And here was the cat who could have been actually exhibiting what the neighbor was doing. So anyone add more to that?
Yes, I do. And this is another case where animal communication, could provide more insight into the root of the real problem. In this case, confirming that it is the pet also grieving in their own way, and that they're grieving alongside that person. So the challenge here is they may want to deal with their own feelings, the cat in this case I'm talking about, but be blocked by expressing their grief because you, as their companion, are unable to process and work through your own. So, example, you're hiding from your feelings and the cat's hiding under the bed. Well, that's mirroring, right? Basically both not dealing with, and you're hiding from these difficult emotions. And so your pets are very attuned to you and your emotional state, because your emotions are energies that you put out into the field around you, right? We're all like these little broadcast beacons. So, you know yourself, you have a great event happen in your life, everyone's happy and joyous, everyone feels that happy energy around them. And the same thing, a person who's angry or depressed walks in, and that's a very different feeling in the energy. And you feel that. We all are empathic in that way. We all can sense and feel the differences in those energies. So your pets are taking those clues about the field around them, meaning the field around you, and they're interpreting that. And sometimes that is going to block what they're trying to go through and what they're trying to process on their own. So there's a lot of energetic tools in the case of grief that help us ride the uneven waves that come with the whole grief process. Homeopathy, we talked about herbal remedies, flower essences, Reiki, using mindfulness and energy work, sort of working more at the mental level and at the spiritual level to help process and release the energies that we pick up during that process as we go up and down that roller coaster. And I personally just had an experience of this very deeply. My own young cat passed away quite suddenly a couple of months ago, and initially our role was we were trying to deal with the physical and the emotional shock of that, but it was so devastating because it was so unexpected that I got sick and his surviving brother, the other cat, got sick, and we as we kind of came up and worked through each of our experiences of grief, we were in parallel. So when I got a little better, he got a little better. It's just the way it worked, right? And although we were processing that grief at our own individual level, we were also in this sort of ecosystem because we're all so closely bonded. We live in the same house and we're all deeply attached to the other pets. So energy medicine can be a really great, set of allies and tools in a case like that. And we mentioned this word mirroring a couple of times, so I'll kind of get into our last case scenario here. Mirroring comes up when your animal acts out in a way to demonstrate something to you, to bring it more into your conscious awareness. So this always comes from a place of love and compassion in the animal, even though outwardly to you, it may appear that they're exhibiting some off or negative behavior. And it doesn't always have to be a destructive behavior. It could be that they get depressed, maybe they're moping, but they might be more aggressive, more angry, more skittish. They could be jealous, they could be bullying, there could just be a whole range of emotional conditions that could come up that aren't really their normal state. So what's happening is they're trying to get you basically to look in the mirror and see or understand what you have been doing or experiencing that may or may not be for your best or highest good, and give you some clues that you might also need to shift your energy. So sometimes it is their issue, but a lot of times it's their issue and it's also your issue, right? And they're just showing you a version of that to kind of bring your awareness up and make you understand that something needs to shift here. So one of the first things that we think about with energy medicine is if the animal suddenly, like it seems like out of the blue to you, because you've just started maybe noticing or paying attention, and they start feeling off or they start acting out, the first thing to do is really check your own energy. Like go in and see what is going on with you. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts and emotions? How are you expressing yourself? How are you acting? Because that will give you a lot of clues. And if you look closely enough, you will start to see that some of those tendencies or some of those actions or behaviors or thoughts are also showing up in the animal. Now, the challenge with this is, the awareness is one thing, but if we don't tune in and we don't kind of pick up on that, the long-term downside of this is that the pets kind of get stuck in that energy. Like they're trying to bring it out to make you aware, to kind of wake up and see it. But if we don't, over time, they keep repeating the pattern, and then they actually can get stuck in it and take those energies on, and that can result in illness or disease, just like it could with a person. So, Cindy and I, if you've been with us long enough and heard some of our stories, we often tell the story about Cindy's daughter's cat being PO'd, right? About her daughter's unhealthy relationship that she had with a boyfriend. And the way the cat chose to bring that out to bring out that unbalanced sort of dysfunctional relationship energy to her daughter's attention was she started peeing all over the house and outside the litter box. And this led to a series of vet visits, homeopathic consultations, And then eventually to me with an animal communication session where this exasperated cat explained to me how she felt the daughter was being treated badly and needed to get out of that relationship. And she could not understand, the cat could not understand why the daughter did not see this herself. So she was acting out, right? So at some level, Cindy's daughter probably did have some idea. Maybe she was even mad at herself. Maybe she, in fact, was pissed off herself for staying with this or putting up with it, however that went. But it took the cat to dramatically shift the energy into her awareness so that she could and would act on it and make the positive changes she needed to in her life. So, of course, there was a lot of drama with that, being out of the box, everyone's frustrated, angry, there's, oh my gosh, what's happening? They're worried. And when that got resolved, meaning her daughter was able to finally come to terms and realize that she needed to make some positive shifts and changes, all of that energy went away. The emotional pattern calmed down, things rebalanced, right? The cat did not pee outside the box anymore. She didn't need to. Message received, right? And eventually, as Cindy has told us a couple of times, when her daughter did resolve that, the boyfriend did leave and things just calmed down. So just an example of, the pets are mirroring what's going on with us. And, that's a big clue for us. They're really doing us a huge favor. We just kind of have to be more sensitive and tuned in to really get the message and figure out what that is sometimes. All right. We're getting into the last part of our session here, and more things we want to share with you before we're ready to take questions. So, Cindy?
So now that we've covered some of our most common cases that we have seen, experienced for pet emotions, let's circle back around and see why you're here in the first place tonight with us. But that is to help your pet to get and stay healthy in a safe and natural way. Often, something goes wrong. We just want a quick fix or a cure without even thinking what really is happening, what really is going on. How are we going to achieve that? In energy medicine, such as homeopathy and Reiki and other integrative approaches, we are seeking to look to rebalance the body systems and the energy field to bring back optimal health and wellness. So what does that mean? What does that look like? So there's 3 signs of health. One is increased or balanced energy. Now this can apply for people and it can apply for pets, okay? We don't talk about the pet topic, but we can also apply the same thing to people too. So if you have an animal that's, let's say he's not feeling well, his energy's been kind of dropped. When you work with energy medicine, the energy has to come up because it's energy. It's got to come up. If you have an animal that's, high-strung, hyper, running around all the time, then that energy needs to come down. Yes, I know there's puppies and the kittens that get real hyper, but there's a balance to that. There's too much. It's like a hyperactive child. You need to bring that down a little bit. The second one is the pet needs to exhibit a well-being feeling mentally and emotionally. So you know yourself, when you don't feel well, you're not quite exactly a happy camper. You're not exactly, what I want to say, always smiling all the time. You may smile when somebody said, how are you? But down inside, you're not feeling too well. And that's the same thing with animals. Animals feel the same way they do when they don't feel well. So when you work with remedies or energy medicine, what happens is their mood gets uplifted. It does. They feel better emotionally. Their tail's going to wag more, or they're going to want to play fetch more often. And then the third one is the sleep cycles have to improve or become more appropriate for the age. Now, as we know, as the animals get older, or like even with people, as we get older, older like in the 80s and 90s, we will sleep more often than we do. But the same thing happens when an animal doesn't feel well, they're going to be sleeping more. And sleeping also is a very good way of healing too. So by them sleeping, they're healing. But when you work with energy medicine, it gives them a boost of energy, not like a shot of adrenaline, but it rebalances their energy. So now there's no need to sleep because they're healing well. So when the pet's body systems, functions, the digestion, the elimination, the appetite becomes more appropriate, this is when they're more happier. This is when they're more healthier. That's what we're looking to do. Because when one system goes down, another system has to pick up the slack. So if you're having, digestion problems, then it's either diarrhea or constipation that would be happening. So one of the body system has to pick up the slack. So what happens is that all the systems running in harmony. It's like everybody's all singing in tune. What happens? That's the goal with working with energy medicine. That's the goal of any kind of healing, actually, with energy medicine. So another reason why you might be here with us tonight is you're tired of what they call the shotgun approach of looking, and you're looking more for an holistic, integrative way to help your pet. When working with integrative approach, you are more likely to get to the root cause of why your pet is not feeling well, and therefore will be able to help them to move back to health faster. When you don't go to the root cause, you just keep dosing and just keep medicating what you're actually doing. But if you address why they're not feeling well, when you gave you several examples here this evening, when you address why they're not feeling well, then they have health. Then their overall health and well-being improves. It creates a mental emotional stress when you don't feel well and we become more stressed out. What happens is the more stressed we become, the immune system starts to go down. The immune system is not running as optimal as the way it should be. And then it leads to more illnesses. And that's why when clients come to me, not necessarily animal, when people come to me and they give me a shopping list of symptoms, that's because they have been sick for quite some time. And the immune system is kind of hopping along, trying to move along, is trying to do the best that it can. So when you get a shopping list of symptoms, you know the immune system is pretty much down. So the sooner you start to feel better, the quicker they return back to life, whether it be a person or whether it be an animal. So while you can certainly work with us individually, Sue-Ann, animal communication, energy medicine, or with me as far as homeopathy, we hope that what we have started here with you is that to see the real synergy and power of combining both of our approaches to get to the root cause and the right treatment for your pet. So may I tell you about our Pet Premier package, which offers you and your pet a comprehensive way to address the health issues that they are facing by addressing their unique being at the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual way of healing.
Yeah, let's tell them all about it.
All right. So the Pet Premier package includes a 30-minute remote animal communication session, plus 15 pre-briefed and debriefed phone calls, a 30-minute energy medicine distance healing session, which would be one of the following: Reiki, spiritual response technique, EFT, and Eden meridian balancing, and also a 30-minute homeopathic consultation, which includes 2 15-minute check-in calls and the homeopathic remedies. So what you're getting here is 3 hours of focused consultation and treatments for your beloved pet, and helping them to regain health again, to help balance out their immune system, using a natural, safe way of going about it. There's no side effects in what we do here. All our services are offered are remote and phone-based sessions, so you do not need to be locally. A lot of my clients do not live nowhere near me. They all do phone calls they do for me. If you book the Pet Premier package within 48 hours of today's live call, you'll receive a special pricing, of $197 for all 3 sessions that we offer during all our live events and talks. This service normally costs us $229. I don't know about you, but in the past, when I had with my animals, I could easily have spent $200 for one pet visit. And what you're getting here is 3 services, 3 hours of treatment, if you want to say, for $197. Once you purchase the Pet Premier package, we will reach out to you to schedule your session and go over sessions. We'll do the pre-work. There'll be some health forms to fill out. You need to give some information so you at least know where we're going at here. You have 3 months to schedule and to use your 3 sessions. And the beauty about this package is that it can be used for multiple animals, except for a homeopathic consultation. That has to be for 1 animal. So if you have, what do I want to say, a cat and a dog, a bird, what it may be, you can use them all. And what happens is, and I don't think you've even talked about this with Sue-Ann, is that we didn't get too much about my daughter's cat, but when you do animal communication, everybody chimes in. So all the animals that are in that house are all going to be speaking up to Sue-Ann. So, they all have their say. They all want to have their turn to say something.
Yeah.
So that's where it really comes in handy where you do animal communication with. That way you get to see what other animals, how they feel in the pecking order, if you want to say, or how they feel what's going on in the family dynamics, how it would be. So we recommend the first session to be as an animal communication session with Sue-Ann. And then based on what you learn from the animal communication session about your pet, then you will schedule your pet's next healing session? Will it be a homeopathic consultation or will it be an energy treatment appointment? And in order to receive this live event discount, you must contact us and book and prepay the package no later than Thursday, April 26th. So your pet's going to be receiving support from several angles to help rebalance their health in a safe and natural way. So, Ann, do you have the slide you can want to put up there? Maybe that kind of, I'm visual. I'm a visual person. I need to see things, you know. You're also going to be receiving an email. You're going to be receiving an email. You're going to be receiving all the details about this, so you're getting. So you have all the details about what it's all about.
Yeah. So go ahead, Cindy. I'll just put this up on the screen while we're going here.
So before we go to Q&A, we would like to share one more story with you. Actually, Sue Ann can share a very interesting story with you that she had with the, I mean, it was a dog you had, I forget what it was, Sue Ann, that you had. I think it was a dog, wasn't it, that you had?
Oh, this is one of my food motivated dog clients.
Yes, yeah. So we have to share one more story, and then we'll get to the Q&A section of our talk, okay?
I don't know if I can handle my screen share is not moving. I'll try to do this while I'm doing it. So I actually had a distance client, as like Cindy, a lot of my clients are distance based. About 80% of my clients I don't necessarily see in person, but as an animal communicator and doing distance healing work, a lot of times I'll work with a photograph of your pet. And that just allows me to, like we talked about earlier, match vibration, connect in with the pet, and, you know, get to really make sure it's a strong energetic connection. And so I had a client of mine who called me who was familiar with Reiki. She, in fact, practiced Reiki herself, but she had been dealing with a lot of health issues with an older dog, about 14-year-old Cocker Spaniel. And she was really concerned because the quality of life had diminished for this pet. She was no longer able to really go up and down stairs with confidence, had lost a lot of confidence in going for walks, couldn't really be mobile in the house. And she had started to be taking a lot of different medications, which her owner was not too happy with and really wanted to wean her off of. So because of all those different issues, and because also the client traveled a lot, we scheduled a series of Reiki sessions, distance Reiki sessions. And, you know, once or twice a week in the beginning, and then we were able to do it a little bit more of a maintenance mode. So for about 6 to 8 weeks, we were doing fairly regular Reiki sessions. And she had also tried other modalities, acupuncture, which I was definitely very supportive of. I didn't really see as much progress in terms of getting mobility, flexibility, inflammation going away, emotional mood improving, because as this dog was losing quality of life, she was also getting depressed and kind of getting more withdrawn and not interacting and just really not being herself. So our story with this that's really very intriguing is that when my client went away for a business trip, she was left the pet schedule home with her husband, and her husband wasn't necessarily convinced that this was all working, wasn't really quite sure it was all for real, and the lady doesn't come here, how can this be? She doesn't even touch our dog, how do we know this is working? And what happened was during the scheduled time, her Reiki appointment was due. The husband decided that, he didn't really believe this was going to happen. And their dog was very food motivated, loved her treats, loved to eat her favorite foods. So at the time of the appointment, he said he was going to test this out. And he saw her laying in her little bed, and she was all hunkered down, waiting for her Reiki treatment. And he pushed the food right under her nose, and she didn't budge. Didn't move, didn't blink, didn't sniff. It was like the food wasn't there because she was in a Reiki zone and she was really enjoying it. And she knew when the Reiki was coming, she could sense the energy, and that was her Reiki treatment, and nothing was going to get in the way of that. So this is the story my client relays to me a couple of weeks later after the fact, telling me this little story about how powerful the Reiki was and how it was working, but also how her husband had sort of become a believer. And then he could really see over time, she was going for walks. She was going up and down the stairs. She had become more playful. So it was really a very interesting story of, distance healing, and even for someone who's maybe not a believer, kind of seeing the proof in the results. So we like to share that story as well. All right. Okay, so I'm going to leave this contact slide up here for just a minute and maybe flip them back. But I think let's go to Q&A. Well, we've got a good chunk of time here. I think there's also some questions in the chat, Cindy, which I can't see now that I have the slide.
I can't see them either.
Let me stop the share here. Sorry.
I can't see them either. Okay.
So why don't you take the questions that came in online first, if you could just read
Okay.
those, and then we'll take them.
Okay. All right. So this was a cat that came in, cat 5 years old. And the question is, they would like more information on flower essence for stress. So from my perspective, I don't use flower essence. I use straight homeopathy. So either way, you still would need to address what is causing the stress. And Sue-Ann, you can probably answer this question better than I could.
Yep. So flower essences are pure vibrational medicine because they, like homeopathy, it's sort of literally the essence, thus the word flower essence, of the substance they're made of. These are mostly made out of flowers, unlike homeopathy, which could be other substances. And we typically have them make them up in these little dropper bottles that looks a lot like the size of the homeopathy. I also make them up in little spray bottles as well, so they're easy to administer. But these are really the healing clues that come from that flower's evolution over time, where it has evolved and survived in its environment, solved its challenges, and now thrived in order to be able to produce that beautiful flower. So that flower represents the highest wisdom, if you will, and the highest evolution of that plant. And when we distill and make a flower essence, we're putting that information, that survival and thriving information, into that water, distilled water. And we can take that flower essence now and get it into our own energy field by taking droppers and putting them in water, using the water as a carrier of the electrical information of that vibration, or spritzing it on our skin or on the pet's fur, or letting them lick it or put it in a water bowl. Lots of different easy ways to get the flower essence into our electrical system. But that's how the information, if you will, the healing wisdom of the flower essence gets to us. It comes to us as electrical information, vibrational, and then our electrical system knows what to do with that. So when we are thinking about what kind of challenges we have, we do a consultation for flower essences, similar to homeopathy, where we kind of get, what's the story? What is the challenge? You know, what happened? How are you feeling about it? You know, how do you want to feel about it? And we really do focus a lot on both the physical, mental, emotional, and even the spiritual aspects of it. And then I'll do a consultation and do some research and select the right combination. Usually it's not just one, it's usually a combination of flower essences to address all those different vibrations and challenges that you're dealing with. So for stress, there's a lot of different ones. I use a line called Green Hope Farm, which is based up in New Hampshire. They're all preserved in a vinegar and an herbal preservative, so no alcohol. So they're very safe for all ages of people, all different conditions, and for pets. And there's no pharmacological interaction with them, so they can be used anytime, anywhere, any place, and alongside any other modality that you're doing. You're not going to collide with or cancel out or derail any other healing modality that you're doing, because literally these are information in a bottle. So in terms of stress, we would just need to figure out what kind of stress. Where is the stress? What are you stressed out about? And that would guide us to the right flower essence. And I saw, just because I'll skip over here to the chat, the same thing with anxiety. Somebody have a question here about how do you treat anxiety? It's the same thing. Those are like spectrum type emotions. So there's a spectrum of flower essences that we would look at that would address different parts on that spectrum.
And from a homeopathic perspective, with anxiety, we would see what actually happens when you have the anxiety. So it'd be like, is the dog kind of skittish? Is the dog kind of like trying to get the dog into the car to go to the vet's office? Is he kind of like has his tail between it, like he doesn't want to get in the car, you got to pull it, like a mule? Is it the kind of dog where he's peeing a whole lot? So there's different kind. I would have to need more information about what happens when the animal becomes anxious. Mm-hmm. Same thing I would do for a person. What happens? What when they're anxious, how they react? Because anxiety is a big terminology. Everybody responds differently when it comes to anxiety. Some people who their stomach got butterflies in their stomach they have, or some people who got diarrhea. So it depends on what the symptoms would be. The next question we have here that was submitted prior is, this is a German short hair pointer, 5 months old. And the question is, they say that your pet will mirror what emotionally with you. So if you got a puppy that is hyperactive pup, do you need to look to heal that in one of our family members to make the change in the puppy? None of us seem to be hyperactive. So how I would look at it is there's many reasons why an animal is hyper. Could be not being exercised, it could not be enough. You know, if they're in, especially that much of, if they're in a cage, you know, with a crate they're in there. Looking for attention, they could be doing. Could be the breed of the animal.
Yeah.
You know, like a Dalmatian is not exactly a pet, you know, a family pet. They need a lot of room. Could be parasites. Could be energy to family dynamics. I would look to see what other symptom is the pet having. You know, is he chewing? Is he what I want to say, peeing all over the place? What else is going on with the animals? Is he eating too much? Not eating? To help me select a remedy. This is more where Sue-Ann would come in. Is that if we could not figure out what it would be, or we would ask Sue-Ann, you know, tap into the you know, have a little chat with this little pup and see what's really going on there to help them. And after you have the animal communication session, then you would either, you know, you can either choose with homeopathy, or you can choose Reiki, whatever would work with that particular animal. But I also what happened is you would also need to see what's actually going on in the family dynamics. And like you heard with my daughter's cat, is that, you know, the cat was peeing. So being pissed off, and, you know, was how my daughter's boyfriend was at the time. And, you know, was not happy, was mirroring what was going on there. So Ann, would you like to add to that? You probably
No, I think you it would be, if we really, right, if it doesn't seem like that's the people in the family dynamic have that characteristic that the dog is, well then, okay, maybe it is really something with the dog. So then I would say, you know, communication would be your best first bet, because why guess? Let's just ask them, you know, what's going on? And that could just be their personality, right? Just like with people, some people are just more, you know, type A's and they're a little more tightly wound, and other people are kind of, you know, chill and, you know, go with the flow. So it could just be intrinsic, but at least we would have a better idea. You know, and if it's certainly something that you feel like is causing them anxiety, or, you know, is causing or creating destructive patterns of behavior, then obviously we would want to uncover that. But it could just also just be personality.
That was it being submitted. Anything?
Okay.
So are you in Hunterdon County? Yes, we are both in Hunterdon County. Oh, now you live in Montana, MT Montana. I'm guessing that's what that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any other questions. Anybody? Can we
unmute everybody?
See if they can ask anything else that we.
I'm just unmuting everybody. So if you have a question, just speak up. Everybody, see my unmute, not unmuting people.
Yeah, you can still go.
Okay, and some of you might be muted on your side too.
On your end, yeah, unmute yourselves.
Yep, there you go. Okay, and you might have to unmute yourself also, Lisa, because I don't seem to be able to unmute you.
On the bottom of the chat box, on the bottom of the not the chat, on the bottom bar, far left, and it says mute. Just click that, and you'll unmute yourself.
Good. Okay, well, it's open. So any questions, thoughts, scenarios that, you know, did you learn anything new tonight? Anything that you didn't know already? Thinking about pets' emotions?
Yes.
You have to be shy. We can't see you, so.
You must speak up.
Yes. Did we answer all your questions, or do you have anything else you want to ask us about?
No. No, I don't think so.
All right.
Good.
Monica, do you want to say something, Monica?
No, I thought it was very interesting.
Oh, good, good. One of the questions we often get is, do we go to a veterinarian first before we come and see you? We get that question quite often. And sometimes you may not know what's really wrong with the animal until you take them to the vet. And they get some blood work done, or get some clinical diagnosis they get to have done. And then come and see us. However, I want to say is that when I work with, whether Sue-Ann and I work together or not, or if I work, it'll be a person or an animal, that when we're trying different remedies and we're not getting anywhere, I'd be the first one to send to get a clinical diagnosis. If you're not getting results within a couple of days, more or less, depending upon what the problem is, something else needs to be looked at. Could be something might be missing. And again, if you did a session with Sue Ann, then we get a little more better insight as to what really is going on to help support the remedy or the energy healing.
Clinical diagnosis, you know, this is why it's holistic, because it's a big tent. So we need the clinical diagnosis, we need the great diagnostic tools that are available to us through Western medicine, and then we need, you know, ways to work with the pets naturally, and you know, we need to do what we need to do. So you look at all your options and you say, what's the best of what I need to do? We're just so grateful that, you know, for ourselves, that, you know, energy medicine happens to be the thing that we seem to resonate with, and the pets that we serve resonates with. But we are quite happy to work right alongside traditional veterinary care and medical care, because it's all complementary. Everything supports, you know, the overall healing process.
And sometimes I would say, well, my vet does not believe in holistic approaches. Well, that's your choice. You just tell them or not tell them. You know, we can't tell you what to do, not in your case. You know your vet. I would say more and more veterinarians are becoming more open-minded. They are, and especially if they're hitting a wall, they're not getting results. They may even say, you know, try something else, acupuncture, homeopathy, whatever it may be. They may say. We've even had people who we've given talks with and have actually purchased our program, our package, because of that reason. One particular one comes to my mind. Remember this one, Sue Ann, recently we had, where the dog was, they couldn't get any results with the dog. They tried all kinds of stuff. They did all kinds of blood work, and you couldn't find anything wrong with the animal.
Yeah.
And then Sue Ann did a little bit of communication with them, she did, and then they went through a series of working with Sue Ann and working with me, and we're able to, now the dog is back to so-called normal, is what is happening. So, you know, when they don't have any other answers, they're gonna, you know, ask you to, you know, suggest you to go elsewhere. Not because they want to push you away, but they're all about helping animals too. They're here to help the animal too to get well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Any other questions you can think of, Sue Ann? Or anybody else have any questions? We'll gladly answer them.
I'll gladly answer them. I know sometimes people ask us, you know, how long does it take? And I know you referenced a couple of those scenarios, but it does sort of depend with energy medicine, because we're rebalancing at different layers and different levels. And, you know, you can sometimes see results in one session, sometimes just the clarity of the information that comes out in an animal communication session will shift the energy pattern dramatically, and you'll get a lot of forward progress. But just like with people, you know, sometimes these patterns are more deeply ingrained, and they've been very embedded in the energy field, and they can take a while to unwind, just like it took a while to create them. So every case is a little bit individual and unique, but sometimes you can just, you know, it's sort of the key that opens up the healing pattern, and it's the one piece that's been missing, and all it takes is, you know, a session or two to get that energy flowing, you know, correctly, so in the right direction. And not too much and not too little, right? The energy must flow properly as it was intended to do, through all of the energy layers and all of the energy systems and the energy body, for us to have optimal health and wellness. So very individual, because we're all very individual and unique.
Yeah, unique. Yeah. So I would say for like I said, for emotional stuff, I look for a change in 2 or 3 days, 24, 40 hours, I look for a change emotionally. And again, you're going to see slow improvements. It's not going to be like, now we're back to normal. It doesn't work that way. It's going to be a slow progression back to health again. If I was looking more of an injury, I would be looking for a change within that day. Definitely by the next morning, I would look for a change, which was more of an injury kind of a thing with people or an animal, either way it would be. If I was working, let's say I had a client recently that it was a rescue dog, and he had the skin rash, and he also had this cough. Now, she just got him in January. I think was it that latest one that was down south? I can't remember off the top of my head what storm it was, but the recent one we had that was down south. And she just got him in January and had this cough. And I said, well, there's remedies that can work for the cough. Let's work with the skin first, and let's see. We had remedies worked up for the cough, but let's start him on the skin remedy. And within, I would say 3 or 4 or 5 days, the skin started to improve. And she said, by the way, the cough's getting better too. So here we are looking for the cough. You know, she would cough in the skin. I said, let's just hold off. And working with the skin, now the cough's improving. So whenever the remedy needs to be adjusted, he starts to cough more. That's our clue. We need to adjust the remedy. So we adjust the remedy along the way, and his cough is slowly improving. So yeah, everything's differently. You know, it's like Sue Ann said, it doesn't matter how long you had it. You know, if you had something for 10 years, it's not going to go away in a week's time. It's going to take time to go away. The more recent you have it, the least time you have it, the quicker response you're going to get for something like that.
Yep, definitely. All right. Last call. Questions, thoughts? Was this helpful?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. So I guess we'll wrap up by saying as I mentioned before in the chat, we have a couple of upcoming events, so feel free to come and meet us in person, because that would be awesome to meet you guys. And we have our next teleconference, which is usually the second Tuesday of every month, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, is Welcome Home, right? Acclimating new family members and pets. And then in June, our final scheduled conference for the series is Serene Seniors, all about the quality of life for our older animals. So that's all coming up. I hope you'll join us for that. Assuming our recording worked really well, you'll also get a copy of this recording the next day or two. And yeah, we welcome your feedback and share with your friends. Like us on Facebook. It's what's our handle again? It's Facebook at The Holistic Pet Gals. And our email for that is theholisticpetgals@gmail.com. So we'd love to hear from you. And as Cindy said, to get the special price for the Holistic Pet Package for our live events and talks, you just need to connect with us and sign up and prepay for your package 2 days from now. So this is April 24th, we're recording it. So by the end of the day, April 26th,
Yeah.
and we'll honor that price. And 3 hours of service, you have 3 months to use it. Each session is 30 minutes of a treatment, but there's some time before and after with some of the things I do for consultations. And we'd love to help you and your pets, in a natural, safe way that they resonate with, and help them get back to their happy little balanced selves. So thank you so much for being with us tonight, and look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks for being with us, everybody.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. From us and Kitty. Right?